wanted to stay at this hotel for a while because we pass by it often, and it's just beautiful, and it's newly constructed, and it's just a super like chic but also sort of like 60s hotel that pays homage to Cuba and sort of like the 60s era and that culture that permeates Ybor City. It's a really cool city. If you're ever in Tampa, recommend visiting it. But the funny story to how we got here is not so beautiful. It's not a sexy story. It's in fact like a disgusting story, but I'm gonna share it with you guys because I try to be candid and frank on this blog. So what brought us here specifically though was last night we were in our house, and if anybody has researched Tampa, first of all, Tampa is the roach mecca of the United States. So if you didn't know that, that's a fun Tampa fact. It's just the humidity, the combination of the trees, the flora and fauna. It is like the roach mecca. So roaches is something that pretty much everyone has to deal with. It's a problem. You see even like restaurants, even, you know, the nicest of homes have to tent their houses because of roaches and termites. It's just the way it is here. So that disclaimer, putting that out there. And we keep our house pretty clean, like pretty spotless, as clean as we can. But despite that, it is an old house, it has cracks, and we occasionally see roaches. And for me, roaches are a gigantic trigger. Like, cause the ones in Florida, I'm gonna be like little TMI, they're like the size of your thumb. Like they're big and they're upgraded and they fly. So we were in our house last night, we were in our bedroom, and this is shadowy for me, this is shameful for me, because I think of roaches as like, for me there's that stigma that it feels like you're just living in the most abject, you know, impoverished conditions. So I'm very embarrassed. So you guys are like hearing stuff that I don't really tell a lot of people. But we were sitting in our room, okay? And we were talking about how we don't want to live in our house anymore. From my husband's perspective, he is getting to that point because he feels like there's security issues. He has a lot of business equipment. He has a one wheel that he loves and he's purchased. He has some things that he's starting to worry about. And for me, like, that's not my biggest thing. My thing is like the roaches and the cleanliness, but either way, those are both equally valid. He was having that conversation in our bedroom when he flinched because a roach had crawled over his foot. Like an upgraded, like badass, like I don't give a shit roach, like crawled over his foot, and he kicked it and it flew, you guys. It flew onto like my nightstand right by my bed and landed on the cup where I drink water. So that happened. I immediately got up and freaked out, went to the living room, and in the living room there was a roach crawling into my husband's office. And we were just like, we can't take it anymore. We're done. Let's go get a hotel room. So we literally, at last night, 11 p.m., we walked here. It's like several blocks. We walked here. We got a hotel, and this hotel we've been wanting to stay in for the longest time. Didn't have like toothbrush, didn't have anything. I'm like doing this video with like dirty unbrushed teeth. Woo! And we stayed. And it's like an interesting thing because that feels like I would call a mini rock bottom, where we were literally in our house talking about how we want to get out, and we see two roaches, big roaches that can have babies. So that drove us here. But the cool thing about rock bottoms, and Lacy Phillips talks about this in To Be Magnetic, is a rock bottom is kind of the universe's way of shaking you, saying, hey, shaking you to get your attention to say, you need to make a change. And we have wanted to make this change for a while. And I feel like that catapulted us, and just being able to taste this environment, have a feel for it. It is within our means to have it. It just kind of catapulted us to take actionable steps to go to that next level. Being able to stay in this hotel has been a huge vision holding experience, a huge expanding experience for me, to feel what it would feel like to get up in the mornings, have my laptop, do my work, and sit in like a thriving, clean little area of the city. Because that's really all we want, is we want an energy that is exciting, that is upbeat, that is clean, that is like a turnkey, go get 'em kind of energy. That's what we want right now. And the energy we get in our house is not that. It is not that. My husband and I have been talking about wanting to fix up the house that we got. We bought a fixer-upper house, and we've been talking for about a year about wanting to sort of leave the single family lifestyle, because it's just us. We don't have any kids, and then both of our pets passed away last year, so really it's just us and then the chickens that are pretty low maintenance. So about a year ago, we started questioning why we even live in that house. Anybody that's owned an old house, our house turned 100 last year, and anybody that's owned an old house will know that it's a constant process of fixing stuff up. It's a constant battle. I feel like it's been a long time coming for like a variety of reasons, but we don't want to get rid of our home because we got it at a good deal. It's in a neighborhood that's improving. It's a great investment, so we want to rent it out. But we have just had, mostly because of me, we've had a lot of blocks in taking that step and getting in a place that's energetically better for us, because right now there's so many like little things in our house that are broken and that need work, and it's just, I'm a big believer in the impact that your environment has around you, kind of like feng shui. Like, I'm not an expert in feng shui by any means, but I do understand, like on a very practical sense, that what surrounds you permeates your energy, it permeates your psyche. So if you're surrounded by, you know, potholes in the road and dirty streets and just kind of like an area that is run down, like, it can have all the potential in the world, but in the here and now, that's going to impact you. I learned hands-on that in February, when I simply took my little business area, my desk area that was in the living room, and I moved it to the other side of my husband's office, it took our work and confined our work to a part of the house that we don't see all the time. So it confined work to a dedicated workspace, which was great. And then B, energetically, it freed our living room to make it more spacious, and it made it strictly a place of entertaining, of healing, of bonding, of talking. Not a place where like you're sitting there trying to have a conversation and looking at work that needs to get done, or work that doesn't get done because you don't have any work. So that was big for us, and I think that was just like a very small sample of the energy flow and the unblocking that could happen if we were to change our entire living situation. Now for me, what that means is I also need to find income stream. And I'm reevaluating what I want to do to generate income. I'm reevaluating my business, but the income stream, I'm approaching it from a level of high self-worth. So what I know what my boundaries are, and I know that I don't want to go back into employed consulting where you're working 60-hour week, getting paid for 40. But this morning what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend this morning on a beautiful balcony in a clean area with a city in the background where I want to live, in the vibe, in the energy, and I'm going to be taking actionable steps toward that next revenue stream. And it's so exciting, and I can't wait to tell you guys more about it. But that's just my story. I feel like as a manifesting generator that a lot of times I stumble forward in my life, and I've stumbled forward in many cases, but when you look back, you're so grateful for those stumbles. You're so grateful for those things that trip you up and those rock bottoms, because they lead you to these amazing little adventures that you never would have sought before. So if you're stumbling somewhere in your life and you're encountering failures, it may not be the end of the road. Maybe just flow with it and see where it takes you, because that's the adventure of life. So as always, thanks for joining. I would love to hear your input in the comments, and catch you on the next video. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching and joining me in my journey. If anything in this video resonated with you, please feel free to give me a like, comment, or subscribe to this channel.